You are listening to the Daily Gospel Reflections with Sister Cloth. This podcast is brought to you by the Paulines Multimedia. It is our mission to bring the Word of God to all peoples through sounds and images, voices, and music. Come and join us as we share with you a thought a day. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Mark chapter 10, verses 2 to 16. The Pharisees approached Jesus and asked, "Is it lawful for a husband to divorce his wife?" They were testing him. He said to them in reply, "What did Moses command you?" They replied, "Moses permitted a husband to write a bill of divorce and dismiss her." But Jesus told them, "Because of the hardness of your hearts, he wrote you this commandment. But from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, no human being must separate." In the house, the disciples again questioned Jesus about this. He said to them, "Whoever divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery against her. And if she divorces her husband and marries another, she commits adultery." I am wishing you a joyful and blessed Sunday. What question did the Pharisees ask Jesus in today's gospel? Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife? After disproving their allegation that even Moses allowed them to write a certificate of dismissal and divorce their wives, Jesus' conclusive reply was, "What God has joined together, let no one separate." Then the gospel says that when the disciples were left alone with Jesus, they felt they needed further explanation. So they asked Jesus the same question. And Jesus' answer was even more definitive and clear-cut. He said, "Whoever divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery against her. And if she divorces her husband and marries another, she commits adultery." Today, the question of whether divorce is lawful or unlawful strikes us being irrelevant. It does not seem to bother some couples that much anymore, not to mention Catholic couples themselves. But why? Have they lost their warm and soulful promise to each other that for better or for worse, till death do us part? Of course, it is easier for unmarried people to say that because we are not in the shoes of couples who have experienced and continue to experience the many challenges of married life, which we come to know from various sources. For that, we understand the plight of some couples who decide to end their relationship for good. But at the same time, speaking of Catholic weddings, we lament the fact that after all the solemn commitment and vows in front of God, some are not fated to become couples. Catholic teachings say the sacrament of matrimony becomes sacred vows and an agreement because God is involved in the life and relationship of couples. Christian wedding symbolizes the union between Christ and the church as his bride. And who is the church? We are the church. And so was Jesus' conclusive reply, "What God has joined together, let no one separate." I am not a theologian nor an expert in canon law, so instead of discussing the legality or otherwise of this delicate issue of divorce, may I share with you some thoughts about the need to think twice, thrice, and even countless times before getting into a serious relationship that will eventually lead to being tied to someone for the rest of your life. Physical appearance and financial stability may be attractive, but they are temporary and definitely cannot save your marriage. The church strongly admonishes married couples to keep Christ at the center of their relationship. Yes, when you have a mutual devotion to Jesus, the grace of God will never be wanting. For as St. Paul says, if God is with you, who can be against you? Be with us again tomorrow as we share with you a thought a day. Meanwhile, you can follow us and listen to other Apple and Google podcasts on Spotify, produced by Paulines Multimedia. Have a good day.